Your personal awakening, as you also commented, started in Peru. At least one very, very important experience you have. And I would like to ask you, what intelligence do you think they are behind this personal awakening for you?
Well, that's a very interesting question, because for people that haven't come across the story, through 1989, when I was a television presenter with the BBC and also a national spokesman for the British Green Party at the time, through 1989 I started having this very strange experience that kept on recurring, and that was that when I was in a room alone, it didn't feel as if I was alone. It felt like there was a presence there. And this got more and more powerful until the spring of 1990, when I'm in a hotel in London called the Kensington Hilton, working for the BBC, just across from where the BBC is in West London. And it was this presence in the room was so tangible that I sat on the side of the bed and I looked into the room and I said, look, if there's something there, would you please contact me, because you're driving me up the wall. And then, just about 5 minutes walk from here, I was with my young son, he was at the time, he's a strapping 30-year-old now, and someone stopped me down the seafront where there is still there today, there's a newsagent shop and bookshop, and near the station, and someone stopped me to talk about football. And when we finished this short conversation, I saw that Gareth, my son, wasn't there, but I knew where he was. He was in the shop looking at books. So I walked in and I was just said to him, come on, Gaz, we'll go up the town, get some lunch. And as I did so, my feet wouldn't move. This was the first real, if you like, confirmation to me that something real strange was going on. This is around March 1990, and it wasn't a voice, but it was a very strong thought form, if you like, that went through my mind that was almost of voice proportions. And it said, go and look at the books on the far side. And I knew this newsagent, this bookshop, very well. And I knew the books it sold. It sold romantic novels, pretty much. All it did sell at the time. And I thought, why do I want to go over the books? First of all, it's like, what's going on? But also, why do I want to go and look at romantic novels? But, of course, you're bewildered, but you're also intrigued. And I started to walk towards the books. And my feet could move then. And when I got in, all these romantic novels were there, perfectly formed English roses and all this stuff. And then there was one which caught my eye because it was so different right in the middle, and it was a book called Mind to Mind by a professional psychic called Betty Shine. And all I saw was the face in Mind to Mind, her face on the front. And I turned it over, and I read the blurb at the back, and I saw the word psychic. And what really struck me was, would this lady pick up, because I'd never been to a psychic in my life before at the time, would this lady pick up what I'm feeling around me, this presence? So I read the book in 24 hours. I contacted her, and she invited me over, and I went a couple of times, and what I said to her was not, look, I'm having these strange experiences, I don't want to lead people on like that. I want to see what comes naturally. I just said, quite truthfully, I've got rheumatoid arthritis. I mean, look at it. But nothing's helped. I don't take drugs. I won't take drugs for it. I wouldn't be here now if I had, given I've had it since I was 15. And maybe your hands-on healing, which she also did, would help. So I went, and I got the hands-on healing a couple of times. And we had a nice chat about other dimensions of reality. All made sense to me. And the third time I went, I'm sitting on this bench, this medical type bench that she had, and she's sitting next to my left knee like that, doing the old hands on, and I felt like a spider's web on my face, like a cobweb, very, very obviously. Now, this hit me immediately because I'd just read in her book, a matter of 2 weeks, 3 weeks earlier, that when other dimensions of reality, whatever you want to call it, are trying to lock into you, you sometimes feel a spider's web on your face, or like a spider's web, a cobweb. And of course, at the time, I'm thinking, what's going on? Now, all these years later, I know exactly what that feeling was. It was electromagnetic energy, because the way that communication happens between different dimensions, frequency ranges of reality, if you like, through psychics and stuff like that, is that it is done through an electromagnetic projection, an information field. So the information field is just information, energetic, vibrational information. So an English psychic would tune into that projection and they would decode it into English. A Spanish psychic would connect into the same information field and communicate it in Spanish, etc. Anyway, I didn't say anything to her about this feeling, the spider's web, and she's doing that. And then about 10 or 15 seconds after I felt that, she goes, "Oh my God, I've got to close my eyes for this one. This is powerful." And I'm going, "Ooh, what's going on here? It's all new to me." And then she starts telling me in March 1990 that these figures in her mind's eye, projections again. I mean, she hasn't got two physical bodies in her head. It's a projection, something to focus on. And she was telling me what these figures were asking her to tell me. And it was that I was going to go out on a world stage eventually and reveal great secrets, that I was going to write a series of books, that there was an energetic transformation coming, which I dubbed the truth vibrations at the time, because what I was told was this energetic vibrational change, which I now would describe as an information change in the information fabric of this universe, was going to act like a spiritual alarm clock. It was going to wake people up from what they were in, which was basically a hypnotic state, a coma state, living a fake reality, as I would say today. And that these truth vibrations, this vibrational change, was going to have that effect. It was going to get people to start waking up like Sleeping Beauty from the amnesic state. And it was also going to bring to the surface all that had been hidden from us. And if you think about it, that was 22 years ago as we speak. In 1990, there was absolutely no sign or evidence whatsoever that there was going to be some colossal human awakening. And certainly there was no evidence that all this stuff that has been hidden from us was coming to the surface. But when you look at it now from the perspective of early 2012, wherever I go in the world, and I did a big world speaking tour last year, so I spoke in all parts of the world, there is a global awakening happening. It's not the vast majority yet, it's not the majority yet, but at different levels, people are awakening and they're looking at the world and themselves and reality in an increasingly different way, more expanded way. And events in the world are in many ways triggering this, because people are looking at this mayhem that's going on and going, what's happening? What's happening? They're looking for answers. And then you look at what we know now about how the world is controlled by a network, a cabal of families that control the banking system, the political system, the transnational corporations, the oil cartel, the pharmaceutical cartel, the biotech cartel, the global media, mainstream media, etc. You look at what we know now about how that works and what its game is and what its methods of manipulation are, compared with not even 22 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, then what I was told on that March day in 1990 about this transformation of human society and the effect of this vibrational information change is demonstrably happening. and has been happening for a while now, and it's getting more and more powerful. I mean, the people who are now beginning to go, hold on a second, I'm looking at myself and the world in a different way suddenly, you know, are people who just a little while ago you'd say, never them, never them. They will never break out of the box in their lifetime because they seem to be so enslaved by it. And now even some of those people who were absolutely system-programmed people are now beginning to see it. So, and it's interesting, you know, coming around to one of the points of your question is
what do you think is your higher self is benevolent, intelligent?
Well, this is an interesting thing because you would think when I was contacted in that way in 1990 that I would have been desperate to know who it was, names, dates, places, come on, and all this stuff. But I wasn't. It was like something within me knew that for whatever reason I'd come to do something, and this was fundamentally connected to it. And so there wasn't this battle between David Icke, television presenter, Green Party spokesman, and this experience, which it's like I knew, and so it felt so right to me, I just went with it. And what happened after that, a week later when I went back and the contact continued, and one of the messages that came through that time was, one man cannot change the world, but one man can communicate the message that can change the world. And this is a vital fact. This is not about me. It's about the information. That's the transforming thing here. And for all these years, over 2 decades now, every now and again you might have a little thought, you know, I wonder what this force is that, you know, because it was blatant from that experience with Betty Shine, from then on, that when the communication said through her that they were going to put information into my mind, and at other times they were going to lead me to knowledge, that there was no need for arduous seeking. All I had to do was follow the clues they would give me, because it was all arranged a long time ago and before I kind of came here as David Icke. From that time, absolutely that happened. It's been like some hidden force handing me pieces in a jigsaw puzzle, virtually in the order necessary for me to see where they go. And if that had not been happening all this time, I would not have produced all these books. I would not have been put together all this information. I would not have connected all these dots. If just the David Icke level of me, I'd been left to get on with it, I might still be on book 2, and it would be nothing nearly as expansive as what it is. There is a force.